What's going on YouTube? It's Gavin. I'm here with another reaction video for you today. So, if you guys have been staying up to date on my channel, you guys know I have been checking out these SpongeBob conspiracy videos. Shout out to two different YouTubers I've been checking out. Alex Bale, the details he makes in his videos, I never paid attention to as a kid. So shout out to Alex Bale. And I've been checking out the Theorizers, so shout out to the Theorizer as well. So, this is part 3. If you guys haven't been paying up to date, I definitely recommend check out parts 1 and 2. I did reaction videos to those, so definitely check those out so you're not confused. So, this is part 3. Gary the Snail is an alien god. Now, this has been crazy, man. This has been going a little over my head, but it's just, a lot of it starts to make sense, though. But let's get into it. Don't forget to hit subscribe, like, and share. And in the description box below is always the links to my social media. Give your boy a follow. Anyway, let's get into it, man. Gary the Snail is an alien guard, part 3. Let's go.
Let's get through this real quick. I assume if you're watching this, then you've already seen my absolutely insane theory on Gary the Snail from SpongeBob SquarePants. He's a 4-dimensional Illuminati occultist dolphin. I will link the first 2/3 of this now 3-parter above, because everyone, guess what? I'm stupid. I am, in particular, very stupid indeed. I always planned the 3-parter for Gary. I've talked about this, remember? Mrs. Puff got 3 parts, Patrick 3 parts. Anytime there's a particularly interesting lead I've found with SpongeBob, I hit them with a 3-parter. But the reason I'm stupid...
Speaking of Patrick, I plan on checking out Patrick too. And other characters too. You gotta stay tuned for that, y'all.
Is because I left a huge chunk out of part 2 that was supposed to be there. It was to be the final and rather obvious puzzle piece. Luckily, I've saved it for here because Gary and the Observers created humanity.
Gary and the Observers created humanity? Oh boy, let's get into it, man.
Hello.
By the way, let me know in the comment section below, who's your favorite character on SpongeBob and who do you relate to the most? See, when I was a kid, Patrick was my favorite. But as I get older, I relate to Squidward more. But anyway, let's get back to it.
Theorizer is me. Before I finish all of this off with the panspermia theory I've concocted, there were a few final questions I got on part 2 that would be criminal to avoid. One involves Patchy the Pirate's dimension, one involves Doodlebob's dimension, and one involves a comment that finally explained to me why I'm so stupid. How I basically proved something so near undeniable without saying or remembering I'd pondered and used it as a basis in some ways. First, Patchy. So Patchy seems to be in some sort of alternate dimension in which the Illuminati televises SpongeBob. That, or he is the representation of us, the spatially 5D or higher. He's an obsessive fan, but he's definitely above SpongeBob in terms of obvious dimensionality. I have an excellent metaphor I've come up with when pondering all of this. Well, not really excellent, but for those who've seen those videos on the 4th spatial dimension, it's odd. It's sort of like 4D shapes are at a cross-section in our dimension, but here's an interesting sort of way to think about it. 3D characters on televisions. They rotate and look like they're in a 3D environment even though the picture's 2D, but then there's us watching said 3D environment still from above, from behind the TV. There's a really neat way to think of 3D cross-sections, and unfortunately that's the best conceptual way to think about it here, no matter how human and limited I truly sound in saying that. As for Doodlebob, he's simply 2-dimensional. I was cautious about branding Bikini Bottom as full-on 2D for the sheer reason that the characters sort of, well, they don't act 2D. Doodlebob, though, more so does, even though he still exists in this slightly more open world.
I remember Doodlebob. That man, that thing was crazy, man. Like, it was like on crack or something. That thing was crazy.
A lot of comments also commenting on something that didn't have any weight on my theory as a whole, but I brought it up and sort of got it 50% wrong when explaining that.
Speaking of Doodlebob, one of my neighbors literally named their Wi-Fi router Doodlebob. I'm not even making it up. Whenever like I have problems with my Wi-Fi and I have to like unplug my router and like connect everything again, like I literally see Doodlebob. Like I wonder what their password is. What is it, like Spongebob?
Being Gary's dad. I said based on the family tree, it's more likely it would show a mother here. I said this because yes, I know snails can be asexual, but so can many other creatures on this tree, including Patrick, as I've proven, and they didn't show signs of asexuality here. It's inconsistent, so I ended up going with the local pattern on the tree, which had otherwise shown two parents no matter what. Again, the point was that he had a relation to Patrick. That was just a neat thing I mentioned. His relation has basically no weight on the theory overall, and Gary's dad being the only one present had literally zero weight on the theory.
You would think if Gary is related to Patrick somehow, maybe instead of SpongeBob owning it, maybe Patrick would. But at the same time, I feel like SpongeBob, I mean, he's not the brightest, but also neither is Patrick. But I feel like SpongeBob would take better care of Gary, because if you think about it, Patrick, the dude lives under a rock, and he literally, his home is... I don't even remember seeing a bed. I'm going off the top of my head. I haven't seen Patrick's home in years because I haven't actively watched SpongeBob in a long time, admittedly so. But from what I remember, he had like a TV in like the middle of his home and like a chair made out of sand. I think that was like it. So I feel like he would be a worse owner for Gary than SpongeBob. If you guys know what I mean. But anyway, I got it off topic. Let's get back to it.
I just wanted to clarify. Okay, time for the theory to evolve, starting with the biggest slap to the face I've received with these SpongeBob theories henceforth. I've made theories before where I've stated so much and constantly danced around a single fundamental shocking secret without even noticing it. This happened again. True or not, I feel dumb for not mentioning it.
I was thinking back to one of my childhood shows too, Johnny Bravo. I wonder if the Theorizer did a episode on Johnny Bravo, because I'm gonna look that up after this vid, because I want to know. Johnny Bravo, that I thought that show was hilarious as a kid. The Theorizer. If you guys are watching this right now, I don't know whether it's just you doing the research or you have team working with you, but you or your team, you guys have to go do some Johnny Bravo, man. That would be interesting.
I feel so stupid. And there were actually a couple of people who commented about this, but Gary is Bubbles. His voice is a mental recreation of what he remembers himself to sound like. Bubbles didn't want to retire and have the Gary life. He already did it. After the film, the dejected Bubbles time travels back and becomes our exiled mollusk, so he can slowly assimilate and forget the pains of 10,000 years rejection. The higher-ups Bubbles refers to does mean there's still this whole race of 4D sea creatures, but Bubbles became the snail we know and love. The one we see with the shell in this nebula, Gary. I also saw a fish here, but you know, this is still all sort of subjective, and I don't like...
Wait, so I'm just trying to understand this. So SpongeBob and Plankton go here, and they meet this Bubbles guy, but that's Gary. But how, if they went to that parallel universe or whatever, and met this Bubbles guy, the Watcher guy, how is he not, if Gary didn't come with him, how did he get there and show up as the dolphin? It's just going over my head, man. Maybe I'm reading too much into this.
Like using this nebula as much evidence. And as amazing as it is, if Bubbles is Gary, I do foresee some complications with such an idea. From what I remember, I might have actually pondered this before, but cut it for its inability to properly fit. And I straight up forgot about it until it was brought up to me again. But it's still so fascinating and amazing enough to mention. I don't know if I'd fit it into my main theory, but the complications and likewise the solutions I will allow to be debated in the comments section, so please do. So that's all a little step towards more brainstorming, but now comes my theory. The part that I completely forgot to mention.
Let's go.
I believe this alien race is not just responsible for Bikini Bottom. I made that whole part 2 so I could build to this point, and then I forgot to say it. The aliens created humanity as well. It's implied everywhere. They watch over and protect us. What are we, some random creatures on some random planet they view? No, we are the idyllic pet project. Cellular evolution, consciousness.
Guys, we're being protected by dolphins. The dolphin protectors.
so on, so forth, the whole 9 yards. The humans in SpongeBob exist because of the dolphins. It's no different than their creation of Bikini Bottom. It's obvious. The magical book. Do I have to spell it out? It's the Bible of Bikini Bottom.
Would that be why Patchy's such a fan of the show SpongeBob SquarePants? Because, according to this theory, the dolphins, the Watchers, the dolphins, made humanity, but they also made Bikini Bottom, and because they created both, is that why he's such a fan of SpongeBob? Interesting.
Prophetic origin story detailing SpongeBob meeting his makers. It's the purpose of Sponge out of water. It's the Dolphins' book. They created Bikini Bottom. It's a proxy for the Bible, which evidently implies there's more than just one level of similarity. We, the viewers, are the 5D hands, as I said at the end of part 2. You have Doodlebob's dimension, the second. Bikini Bottom is an interim dimension between the second and the third being the humans we see in Sponge out of water. Patchy is somewhere higher or in an alternate dimension, but Bubbles is the fourth, and we are the one above all. So much is done for comedic effect, but it has implications in the lore which itself is confusingly selectively canon. It's an interim dimension of cartoon physics. In the first movie, they don't fully fade into the third dimension when on land because they are near water almost the whole time. They dry up but are still not fully immersed. This is also proven by how the undead pufferfish and other hut animals are magically revived with water after being dead so long. They're not real pufferfish, they are Bikini Bottomites, sub-dimensional aliens to us. This is all so amazing, so fantastic and so perfect. I love doing this so much, so I went back and watched a few more episodes of SpongeBob, and then I screamed. My jaw dropped and my heart skipped a beat, dilating my pupils out of unadulterated existential terror. The pure mind f***ery of what I witnessed will blow you to bits. Holy Bubbles. That is the realization. Holy Bubbles. In the corner of a shot, in the episode Goodbye Krabby Patty, we bear witness to a recreation of Michelangelo's famous Adam painting in which God is replaced with a dolphin. This is the evidence, the smoking gun, the nail in the coffin this whole time. It's pretty easy to convince you all that Bubbles is an alien. There are clear signs everywhere. It's actually hard to debunk it, but it's harder to convince you that these same aliens are the humans' gods in film, because they show no signs of mentoring or creating humanity until now. This is a human painting. This art parody, which has been slipped in by the animators, is canonical proof that dolphins in SpongeBob are not only intelligent aliens, but actual...
Like I said, man, these animators wouldn't be putting all this in for no reason. So they've got to have all this, like, planned and all this secretly hidden. But it just... and put in. But I'm just thinking, is there going to be, like, a big reveal in this show? Because I feel like when I was a kid, SpongeBob was like about jellyfishing and watching Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, SpongeBob screwing up the driver's test and for Mrs. Puff. But they didn't have these, I mean, sure they had Doodlebob and stuff like that, but they didn't have things as sophisticated as like meeting Bubbles in like a parallel universe and doing and the Watchers and all this other stuff. I'm wondering, is it all going to build up to some big reveal in like one episode that's just going to blow up the internet? Let me know in the comment section below what do you think about that.
Representations of divinity. Gary is not a god. He's the god. They called me crazy. A madman maniac out of his depth. This is nothing. I analyzed Andrew Stanton's tweet and stretched it over 10 minutes. I spent 12 weeks analyzing The Dentist from Nemo and fit it into a 3-hour video, all to prove Darla's parents were divorced. I've spent hours calculating the mathematics and stitching together family trees and timelines unrivaled in their meticulousness. I calculated the weight of Chantel Dubois so I could call her an absolute unit.
Yeah, but that's just crazy. Like I said, these animators wouldn't be putting in all this stuff, all these details for no reason. I swear it's going to come up to a big reveal, and I'm ready for it, man. My channel's ready for it, and y'all are too, because y'all have been staying tuned. I do plan on getting to Patrick and other characters as well, and I plan on checking out other funny scenes or funny moments from other shows as well. Not just conspiracy videos, but funny stuff too, like funny scenes from Family Guy or The Simpsons, South Park, whatever it may be. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to hit subscribe, like, and share. And again, the links to my social media are in the description box below. And this was technically a request to do some Gary conspiracy theories. I am getting to all the requests, so you don't got to worry about that. Stay tuned. I have more videos coming for y'all soon.